Okay. What's up, DiaBEAST Family? It's your boy, Percy Robinson, and I want to thank each and every one of you for taking the time and tuning in to my first podcast called DBK RADIO. You guys know me from my YouTube channel, and I just decided to take my show on the road. I decided to invite some guests over that have been very inspirational to me. And even though I have met them, I want you guys to have a chance to meet them as well. They are amazing. So my first guest is Anita Monique. I met her on Clubhouse probably about 2 months ago. And when I heard her speak and I heard her story and I heard her passion, I was in awe because I didn't think anyone else really felt this way. So, I found my tribe. So, Anita, welcome to DBK Radio. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, I want to thank you first for having me, right? It means a lot. You are a warrior too. So when I heard your story, I was so amazed, but I'm so happy to be here. I'm excited about the conversation that we are going to have. But everyone, I am Coach Anita Monique. I'm the autoimmune bully, right? I take that very, very seriously of what I am, what I do, and I stood up against modern medicine, and I just took my power back, right? So I know we'll talk a little bit about that a little more throughout the show. So I'm so happy to have this conversation, Percy.
All right, perfect. So let's go back to the room that we were in. There were a lot of powerhouses in that room. It's like I went into a place and I seen just a bunch of superheroes. I was just amazed by like everyone's story and like how they took their health back. They basically, went to the doctors, got their diagnosis, and they were like, you know what? I'm not going to do the medication. I'm going to do it another way. I believe in myself. So tell us a little bit about your story, because I was really intrigued by your story.
Okay, so my story starts a few years. I can't believe it's 2022, right? Now I can say my story started 6 years ago, right? I was initially diagnosed with multiple sclerosis in 2016. And when I was diagnosed, I was like, oh no. I was sad, right? Because multiple sclerosis, I just turned 30 that year. My whole life flashed before my eyes, right? And I didn't know what I was going to do. But during that same year, I saw my uncle lose his life to diabetes. And I watched this man take every drug the doctor told him to take. Every pill, I watched one pill turn to two pills, the two pills turned into like four pills. He eventually had a bag of pills, and none of those pills saved him, right? My uncle is not here. He lost his life. So when the doctors turned to me and say, you have multiple sclerosis, if I'm going to be honest, Percy, I was like, oh, I don't know what I'm going to do. But I know multiple sclerosis is way more complicated than diabetes. So you didn't save my uncle. So I'm not even going to attempt to let you try to save me. So in all honesty, it was fear, right? It was out of fear that I didn't want to take the medicine because honestly didn't feel like it had my best interests at heart. It was, the idea was to make money, right? Not to make me better. So I embarked, right? I took literally my power back, and I had to learn how to make myself better, how to build myself up again, right? And it's been a journey. I don't want to tell a lie to anyone and say that I just took a pill and I'm all better, right? It's been a
Right.
journey, and I just from 2016, that's when I decided to study to become a health coach, and now I'm a Dr. Terry Wahls practitioner, and we can talk a little bit about her later. But yes, it was out of fear, right? It was out of fear that I was like, okay, I'm going to become a health coach and learn what I need to do to put me back together.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say that because just like you, I was in fear when I got my diagnosis, right? And I didn't get my diagnosis the regular way where you go to the hospital, you go get checked up, you go to your annual checkup, and they say, you know, Mr. Robinson, you have diabetes. Mine came where like my organs were literally shutting down. Like I didn't even know I had diabetes. It was like I didn't know whether I was going to live or I was going to die. You know what I mean? It was that scary. And and when I woke up or when I came to, I was in the ICU, right? And the doctor said, you know, Mr. Robinson, you're going to be on insulin for the rest of your life. You know, this is what you're going to need to take. This is how much it's going to cost. You know, well, the doctor didn't say that, but you know, the people that do like the medical, yeah, they said this is how much it's going to cost. And I'm like, first of all, I'm not trying to spend $500 a month on something that's going to trying to keep me alive, right?
Right.
And even then, there's no guarantees.
Right.
So I started doing research. You know, I told my sister, I'm like, hey, look, go to the house, get my laptop, get my iPad. Like, I want to start research because I was in the hospital for a week. Mm-hmm. So I had a week to really just research, and I found Dr. Sebi. Okay. And yeah, you know, Dr. Sebi.
Uh-huh.
And this, I didn't even know who this guy was, but I was interested, and I was just like, he really got my interest, right? So when he started talking about, you know, unlearning what you have learned in the past and relearning this new way of learning, right? I took that and started running, and I started like, I bought some of his courses. I found out about sea moss. I found out about like what vegetables and what fruits you should be putting into your body, what nutrients you need to be putting into your body, et cetera, et cetera. So it was like a new world for me. I was like, man, I got this. I can handle this, you know? And you know, pretty soon I was off medication just by taking the steps that the nurse, not the doctor, the nurse kind of snuck in and said, you know, you can manage this by just eating a clean diet and exercising. And I did it, you know what I mean? And that's what I tried to convey to other people, you know, especially, you know, when they're watching my channel. I'm just like, look, these are the foods that you can't eat. And not only can you eat them, you know what I mean? It still can taste amazing. You know what I'm saying? So, you had mentioned something about, darn, I drew a blank. You
but
had
awesome what you said about unlearning to relearn. That was amazing. Yeah. That is 100%. If I had to sum up how I took my power back, that is exactly how I would sum it up, right? These things are possible. What you did, kudos to you. It's possible. And it's just like, shame on the doctors for not telling us this. You know, like I was hurt essentially because I'm like, oh, there's another way. So kudos to you. I wanted to give you your flowers for that because that's amazing.
Thank you. Well, I mean, the hospital is a business. We have to look at it like they're a business. They're trying to make money. So the more sick people there is in the world, and I know how sick and terrible that sounds, but the more sick people they have in the world, the more money they make. Yes. You know what I mean? Let's really just like take a second and just really think about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, so you're going to start feeding us all this crappy food, right? You know, hot dogs and deli meat and, you know, all these things that are cancerous and diabetes and MS causing foods. Like these are the foods that really cause these illnesses, and it starts in your stomach, starts in your gut. You know, a lot of people don't know that we're walking around with 5 pounds of, you know, waste in our stomach, and it's just sitting there. Yep. So your disease starts in your stomach. And so when I heard that you had MS, I was like, wow, that's a different, like you said, it is a different beast. And I'm like, this is a strong, powerful woman. You know what I'm saying? And going through those steps, like, what did you, when you first initially found out, right? What was the first thing that you did? Did you like read something, look at some a movie or a documentary? Like, how did that light bulb go in your head and be like, I'm not taking this advice?
Okay, so I'm gonna tell you how I first heard the words multiple sclerosis. It's a very unique story, right? So I worked at a place called Thomas High Group. I was an optician. I love my job, right? So back in 2016, I was in a relationship that I shouldn't have been in. So we were having a disagreement, right? And while during that disagreement, it's funny because it was Will Smith's face that was on the TV, right? And Will Smith is popular right now, but his face was blurry, right? So I was like, what is going on? Like I watched that episode many times, right? And his face shouldn't have been blurry. So I was like, okay, it was blurry probably for about 20 minutes and then it wasn't blurry. But because I already worked in the field, I knew eyes inside out, right? And I already knew, like, okay, on Monday morning, this was a Saturday, I'm going right to the doctor's office because I worked there. I worked there, I went to the doctor's office. And because I had a relationship, like I was in the sorority and he was in the fraternity, that is why he told me the words multiple sclerosis. He ran tests on me all day long. And he was like, Anita, based on the symptoms you're telling me, you felt numbness in your leg and then your vision went out, I'm thinking it's multiple sclerosis. And he couldn't officially diagnose me. Of course, he couldn't officially diagnose me because he's an ophthalmologist, but he told those words and I was like floored. This was July of 2016. I just turned 30 June of 2016. So I was like, this cannot be my life. Multiple sclerosis didn't fit into my life, right? So just me being who I am, right? I was like, okay, because of the fear of seeing my uncle go to diabetes, I literally Googled, which is horrible. I don't recommend anybody go to Dr. Google, but I went to Dr. Google and I said, people that reverse multiple sclerosis naturally, right? I Googled that. And I was probably Googling so many things and found so many different things. But during that search, I found Dr. Terry Wahls, right? And she was in a wheelchair and now she's not in a wheelchair anymore. So the crazy thought that I had of healing it naturally didn't seem so crazy. Like once I found her, So
Right.
the first step that I did. So that was July. I wasn't able to get into a neurologist, even with a doctor's referral, right? He made sure that he referred me and I couldn't get in to see an official neurologist until November. So mind you, multiple sclerosis is a brain, like it affects the brain. So it took all of those months, but during those months, I drastically changed what I was putting into my body. So the things I learned from Dr. Wahls in the very beginning, I had to throw away. Like that same day, I was like, this goes in the trash, that goes in the trash, this goes in the trash. And I've been journeying all along and learning things as I went. But that was my initial thought. And I'll finish up with saying this. Once I officially was diagnosed, basically a doctor told me, which was like shocking to me because I was 30 and I was like, lady, what is it? And she told me they couldn't really find the things in my blood. That's how powerful food could be, right? But this is
Right.
what the doctor told me. She was like, well, we see the lesions on your brain and in your spine. They saw the lesions, but they couldn't find it in the blood work. So she said, well, if it walks like a duck and talks like a duck, it's a duck. And I was like, really, lady? This is my whole life. This is multiple sclerosis. What damn duck? Like,
Yeah, like, what are you talking about? Like, this is my life.
this is my life. So I guess that's it in a nutshell. Like, I just immediately started changing things, and that pushed me further away from conventional medical system. Because even though I wanted to know as much as possible about multiple sclerosis, her response was like, I was already halfway out the door, right? And then when she
Right.
said that, I was all the way out the door. I was like, okay, y'all rude.
Yeah. See, And that's what I'm trying to get at is like, you know, I have no issue with like these medical professionals, right? I have no issues. I'm pretty sure a lot of them have good intent, but every one of them has a rule book they got to follow.
Right.
You know what I mean? Everyone got a boss. Everyone has something that they got to push. You know what I'm saying? And unfortunately, in their business, medication is basically something that they push. You know what I mean? Like they don't usually read the labs. They have a microbiologist read the labs, and the microbiologist says, okay, well, this is what I found in the blood. And then they come up with, you know, okay, well, this is what it is. So let me go down this book or this list of drugs I can give this person and try it out. So if this doesn't work at this point, you know what I'm saying, then we'll change the doses. If that doesn't work, then we're going to give you something new. You know, it's kind of like they're doing an experiment on your body. Yes. You know what I mean? Not knowing how your body's going to react. And that kind of like hearing and seeing it, how it played out in my mind, I was like, dude, I'm not trying to put my life in your hands so you can play scientist with my body. If anyone's going to play scientist with my body, it's going to be me.
Right. I felt the same. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I was like, I'll bet on me, you know, and I did. So, what type of medications were the doctors trying to prescribe to you?
Oh, this is going to be a good one because when you were telling the story in the beginning, it reminded me of when I was first, when a nurse told me about the medicine, and they described it so calmly, right? They describe it so calmly that if I was to take that medicine right now during what we're going through, I would be in trouble. So the name of the drug, I can't remember because I knew in the back of my mind I wasn't going to take it, but it's definitely a steroid, right? It's a steroid. With multiple sclerosis, they basically give you two options. You're going to inject yourself or you're going to take a pill. They were happy when I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. I was sent things before a doctor fully explained. They mailed the insertion tube to my house, right? Before I got, with no medicine, of course, but they mailed it to my house. They were very happy for me to start this medicine. But those are the two things. It's basically a steroid. It's going to be an injection or it's going to be a pill. When I asked the nurse to please explain it to me, this is what she said. And I mean, for the average person that doesn't know, they're leaning on this information. They're like, oh, it's going to help me. But this is what she explained to me. We're going to give you a medication that's going to send your white blood cells away. And it's okay. They're going to come back out if needed, right? But we're going to send them away. So basically what she was trying to do, or what the medicine was going to do, was shut down my immune system. And if I didn't know what I was privy to knowing, right, I would have just took it, and that would have shut my immune system down. I wouldn't have been able to go anywhere the last 2 years, you know, because I would have been I wouldn't have had an immune system to fight this stuff. But basically, that's how she described it to me. And I had to think to myself, honestly, Percy, I had to think to myself, wait a minute, God gave me these white blood cells. I'm pretty sure he didn't want you to take them away, you know? And that is why I didn't have this debate with her, but just in my mind, I thought, I think I want to keep my white blood cells. Like, that's what I thought. And I just, you know, smiled and thanked her, but I knew that I wasn't going to take anything that was going to shut my immune system down.
And when you say like your white blood cells, right, just like you said, like that's important. Those is designed to fight off any infections, especially like COVID that just like wiped out so many people in the United States and worldwide. We'll just say that. had you not had that, you would have been up a creek. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And I think that's just horrible advice. You know what I mean? And that's what I was going back. That's what I was saying. Like going back to like, here's some medication. Let's see how your body reacts to this medication.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like that's not good enough for me. You know what I mean? Like
at all. You
know what I'm saying? Like you're just putting a Band-Aid on this illness.
Yes.
Until I finally perish.
Yep.
You know what I mean? That's pretty much what it is.
They're not cause.
Huh?
They're not cause of what. Why is the reason that this disease exists, right? Don't put a Band-Aid so I don't feel the symptoms. Meanwhile, what's going on in my body is still going on. Now I just can't feel it. You know, and that was
exactly.
With medicine.
Exactly. And you should see some of the menus that are in these hospitals.
Oh.
I mean, the type of food that they're feeding their patients is making them sicker. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm just gonna go ahead and say this. Like they gave me like sausage and eggs, and I'm like, dude, I'm a diabetic. You know what I mean? Like, what are you doing? You know, this is the type of food that got me sick. And I don't know about you, but like when I found out I got sick, when I got out of the hospital, like I went in my mind and I was just like, okay, what are the foods? I think you did cover this, but I was like, what are the foods that I was eating that was causing my illness? Now, what foods can I take that's going to help heal me? You know what I'm saying? So that's what I try to preach to so many people on my platform. You know what I mean? That's why I dedicate, my weekends shooting content, getting people more excited about eating healthy, And speaking of eating healthy, I don't know if you noticed, but I did do a juicing special and you were the inspiration behind that.
Oh my goodness. I'm so
yeah. You were the inspiration behind that juicing episode because I remember, I think the last time we talked, you were talking about you were about to go on, this juicing. Like I think it was like a 30-day juicing, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
How did that go? How did that work out for you?
It worked out pretty well. I'm gonna tell everyone who watches this, right? A little tidbit. This is the biggest thing of truth. This is why vegans do so well and they flourish so well. Hydration is the key to your wellness. Hydration is the key. So when people eat more plant-based, they're eating their water. I know that sounds weird to eat your water, but that's literally what they're doing. Like majority of their vegetables are going to be made of water. It feels like a substance, right? But it really is water. The creator made it, So 100%, it went well, right? I'm actually about to start another detox, and right over me, I know my light isn't that great, but right over me, I have my holistic doctor, right? So every quarter we detox, right? And it's usually like a tea type of detox, and I usually shy away from it because we'll start detoxing and we'll end it like the day before my birthday, and I'm like, whenever you break a fast or anything, you got to go slow. And I'm like, wait, I want my cake and champagne, and so that is why I'm doing that. But the juice fast went really well because it's all about hydration. And it makes you feel better. Like when you hydrate your cells are like, thank you.
No, I totally agree with you. And I think in that video, I was just like, eat your water. That's pretty much what you're doing is you're eating your water. And with the juicing, you can get so creative with the different blends. And I recommend to everyone, if you can get a juicer, get it. And if you don't have the money to get a juicer and you have a blender, blend up your vegetables, blend up your fruit, get a nice strainer, dump it into the strainer. You know what I'm saying? So you don't have all the pulp. You know what I mean? There's so many ways around it to eat healthy, drink healthy. But you hit the nail on the head because hydration is so important. Mm-hmm. That's, and before I even thought that it was important because I was a soda drinker. Like I drank soda like before I went to the hospital and before I knew I was getting sick or anything. Like I drank soda every single day.
Right.
Like I
We all
had
did, because that's what we knew, that we thought that was
yeah.
good for us, or it wasn't as bad, right?
No, I was taking so I was just dumping sodas down, not eating fruits, not eating vegetables, you know what I'm saying? And I was just I know there's too much information, but I was always constipated. You know what I mean? And
Yep.
one main thing about being constipated is you're not hydrated. You're very dehydrated, you know?
Right.
So like those are like little things that we need to learn about our bodies. Our bodies are pretty simple if you think about it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
If you put the right things in your body, you know what I mean? You're gonna be all right. You definitely gonna be all right. But yeah, the whole your whole juicing escapade was just so I meant to reach out to you earlier to find out, you know, how it went for you. And I mean, you look amazing. Your skin is glowing. Look at this, people. Her skin is glowing, you know?
Thank you for sharing that, Percy, like about juicing. One of my close friends, right? Sometimes I get excited about health, right? When we learn things that can make us better, we like to share it with people we care most about. But sometimes I'm hesitant. I'm like, okay, am I talking about this too much? But just like with the juicing that you're talking about, I have another close friend that just bought a juicer a few months ago, and she said she did it because of our conversation. She juiced oranges, and she said, I'm never buying Tropicana again. And that literally made me smile, because she said it tastes so good, like juicing the oranges. So that made me happy.
It is so funny that you said that, right? Because the orange juice that you guys get in the store is nothing but sugar.
Yes.
That's all it is. And newsflash, apple juice does not look like what it looks like in the store.
Absolutely.
It doesn't look like iced tea. You know what I'm saying? Like it's nothing but sugar and all these different flavors that is going to eventually mess your body up. And I think they do that on purpose. I don't mention the day, but you know who I'm talking about. I think they do it on purpose. You know what I mean? They give you all these things that are in the store. They're like, oh, and they advertise the hell out of it. They're just like, oh, this is amazing. It tastes great. Try this new, and then they put health or they put organic on it, right?
Right. And then people feel like that's healthy, right?
Exactly. But little do they know it is messing their bodies up. You know, when you're walking around, you have headaches all the time. That's the problem. Your body's not supposed to, you're not supposed to be walking around with headaches all the time. You're not supposed to be walking around dizzy all the time. You know what I'm saying? You have to really listen to your body. You know what I'm saying? And that's why, like, I named this title, the title is like, how important is your health to you really? You know what I mean? Are you going to wait until it's too late and then be like, you know what? Let me see what Percy was talking about on this channel that he had. You know what I mean? 100 and something episodes later. You know what I mean? I want you to act now. You know what I mean? Act now. You know, I'm 42 years old. I'm about to be 43 in September. You know what I'm saying? So it is very important for people that are getting up in age to really pay attention to what they're putting into their bodies. I preach that every Sunday.
It is super important, like very, very important. I just wanted to say a quick thing about your juice. What I had to tell people in order for it to click for them, like if they start juicing, like if we were talking about orange juice, if we made the orange juice, it doesn't have long to sit in the refrigerator, right? It doesn't have, it got a couple days, 3, maybe 4 days, and then it's going to start looking like something we don't want to drink, right? But if we go to the grocery store, that thing been there for months. Like, you know, so you got to ask yourself, what are they putting in this for it to last months? Apple juice, you talked about apple juice. It doesn't look like that when you juice real apples, right? Same thing. You got a couple days and then that thing is not, you're not going to want to drink it after a couple of days. But you can go to the store, just walk through the store, and they got it sitting on the shelf, and for God knows how long, when it was made, where it was carried to, how long it's been there. And it's just like, I don't know if they do it intentionally, right? but the money is a motive. They're like, okay, what can we do to preserve this product so we can sit it on the shelf? It can sell regardless. And as long as it doesn't kill them immediately when they sip it, it's not our fault, right? So if it harms them like later, next year or next month, it's not our fault. They ate a lot of other things in between, so they can't link it back to us. Yep.
God, you hit the nail on the head with that one, because literally we're drinking poison. Like, let's keep it a full 100. Literally, we're drinking poison. And the only reason why you keep on drinking this poison is because it's not affecting you right now. But eventually it will affect you, period. You know what I mean? Like, God, like I can't believe you said that. That put a smile on my face, because it is so true. I started shopping just the perimeter of the store.
Yep.
And that's it. Like, you can't catch me in the middle, at all, because all that stuff has preservatives in it. And preservative is not. And what is the idea of preservatives? What does it do? It just preserves dead things. That's pretty much what it is.
Exactly. And that's pretty much my clients. If it sits on a shelf, then it's going to do the same thing when you eat it. It's going to sit in your body. And if it's sitting in your body, it's going to be a whole bunch of trouble it makes. Like, because we're not supposed to have anything in there just sitting there. And that's what all food on the shelf do. You get cheap, whatever it is that you're getting from the store sitting on the shelf, and then you want to eat it. It tastes good. I'm sure it's someone's job literally to make it taste good, to make it addictive. So what they say, once you pop, you can't stop. They ain't lying. It's the truth.
Nope.
It's the truth. Somebody's job is to make it addictive so you can want more and you can buy more. But yeah, I tell everybody that you don't want the stuff that sits on the shelf, because everything has to move in your body. Once it stops moving, we got a problem.
And also, the main ingredients to a lot of the things that we get off of the shelf is sugar.
Yes.
Yep. And sugar is one of the most addictive drug that we can ever put in our body.
Yes, it is.
Our body is just constantly just like, I mean, have you ever I remember when I kind of stopped eating sugar, my body, I would get headaches. My body was just it was like I was having withdrawals. Like, I was literally having withdrawals. Yep. You know what I mean? And it should be illegal for all the things that the FDA approves for us to consume, on a daily basis. And not only that, we're feeding this to our children.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
I just saw it's related. I just saw where peanut butter, I don't eat peanut butter, but peanut butter was recalled. 10,000 jars were recalled because it had metal or something in it. And I thought to myself, did the FDA go to lunch? Isn't it their job to approve this stuff? How did they let this stuff pass? And it's so sad that so many people maybe have to throw it away. I'm pretty sure someone was ill, right? That's how they ran the test on it in the first place. They didn't just do this on their own. They're not just going to take back 10,000 jars of peanut butter and then it's going to cost them, right? So I'm pretty sure, unfortunately, someone had to get sick eating it. So it's a lot. We got to become our own doctors. We have to become, it's our bodies. Doctors went to school for it, but it's your body. They get to leave at 5:00, but you still have to walk around with the disease. So I tell everyone, take your power back. Literally. I'm sorry. I'm just so passionate about it.
No, I love it. And when I seen your picture with the boxing gloves, I was like, oh man, that's me right there. I just had to just have you on here because I love your passion, especially when it comes to the health of our bodies and helping others. You know what I mean? And that's what it's really about. I'm not trying to hold no secrets of health from anybody. My job is just to put it out there.
Right.
It's your job to take that information, research it if you like. I don't care. Research it if you like, and then implement it into your life. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just tired of seeing people that are my age, older, just dropping dead. You know what I'm saying?
If
Just,
you're noticing diseases coming to us younger and younger, like,
oh yeah,
these are things that we're used to, like maybe aunties and uncles having it. And now it's us. Like, I know we're getting older, but still it's just like younger and younger. And it's like, okay, where does it stop? It's up to us in order to stop it and change it and to be the change that we want the children to see, or the people that's after us to see. We have to do it. Like, yeah.
you know why it's happening to us at a younger age. Think of it as like our parents, right? Our parents, they grew up in a time where food was more natural and accessible. They relied on from the farm to the plate. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? Like they were eating collard greens and stuff like that. Even though they were still eating the meat products and everything else, they were still getting the majority of that nutrition. Now, by the time like, you know, we were born, you know what I mean? Like, like the ball started to roll on like instant food. Instant food was like popular. So we grew up our whole lives eating this instant food. You know what I mean? Like top ramen. You know what I mean? Or like this box of cereal. I couldn't tell you how many times like I would beg my mom and dad. I'm like, yo, I want some of that cereal. I want the Cocoa Puff. You know what I'm saying? And that stuff is just not good for us. And that's why we're getting sicker. And we're feeding our children this stuff now. You know what I mean? Because, and it's not like a lot of parents are doing this stuff on purpose, because a lot of parents, they're working their full-time jobs. You know what I mean? Coming home, working full-time jobs, really don't have time to cook. You know what I mean? You have DoorDash, you have Uber Eats, you have all these convenient things now that you can buy for these, you know, buy for your kids. You know what I'm saying? And just the way this whole system is set up, I think is criminal. I really think it's criminal the way this whole system is set up.
Yeah.
It's like they're betting on us, you know, to get sick. And rely on them. They don't like people like us.
Right. And if I could be honest, like as a woman of color, that was easier for me to digest, because it was easier for me to accept, because I'm looking at the history, right? I'm like, okay, this is people like me decades ago, right? They weren't even considered a whole person. So it wasn't hard for me once once multiple sclerosis came out. I was like, okay, they don't always have my best interest at heart. So I have to have my best interest. I have some counterparts that's like, it's shocking to them learning this stuff. For me, if I'm honest, it wasn't that shock. I was sad because I thought a system designed to help me wasn't going to help me, but it wasn't like unbelievable, because I'm like, yeah, they consider people who look like me not even a whole person. So yeah.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned that, because there is a statistic where, you know, when Black women do go into the hospital, they don't take their pain serious. You know what I mean? Because they feel that you can handle the pain more than the average person. So that's why you're seeing a lot of Black women that are going into the hospital and dying. You know what I mean? Because their symptoms weren't taken seriously.
Right. It's
You know
like,
what I
deal
mean?
with it. Yeah.
Exactly. And it's a whole I can go down a whole historical soliloquy, but you know what I'm saying? But I mean, we could do that another time, but yeah, I totally agree with you on that. Like, they don't take our pain seriously. You know what I mean? And I don't really think they take a lot of people's pain seriously. All they see when you're walking into that door is a dollar sign. They're like, okay, well, this person got this, and this. Well, I'm going to prescribe them this, and then you're going to have to take this at night, and then you're going to have to take this in the afternoon. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I think the system that is designed, it is criminal. You know what I mean? And we really need to put on the boxing gloves like our sister, you know, and Miss Anita does, and really fight for our health. You know what I mean? We need to take the time and meal prep our foods. We need to take the time, get that juicer. You know what I'm saying? Juice your vegetables, juice your fruits. You know, take this information and really just think about it and sit on it. You know what I'm saying? Like, because you guys are really looking at two people that really took their health to the next level because we decided to what? We decided to
take our
the
power. Yep.
take our power back. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to get them boxing gloves that you got. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, you got a red pair over there.
You have boxing gloves. Your story is amazing. I send people to learn how to cook. It's hard when it's our parents, right? When we are like trying to help our parents. So I'm like, look at his channel. It's amazing. You make food fun. So I'm always sharing your page with my friends. Like, here, show your parents this. And hopefully, they trying out different recipes.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. I really appreciate that because what I do is really not the sexiest thing in the world. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not a gossip channel or anything like that. But I really started this channel because God gave me a second chance. Really,
right?
That's the only reason why I started this channel. I was like, I could help people. You know what I mean? And just like your uncle, my dad passed from complications of diabetes. You know what I'm saying? And I look back every single day and I'm just like, man, had I known the information now that I know back then, you know what I mean? I could have saved him. I could have helped him out.
I feel the same.
But,
yep. I feel
the same. But, we got to look at it as both of them are looking down at us, smile and be like, man, they are making a difference.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They are seriously making a difference. And really, that's the point. Do you have anything else you'd like to add for us? Anything that you're working on?
Yeah, I just want people to know that it doesn't matter what the diagnosis is, right? You have power over your life. Like, I 100% know that you can, right? I'm not even going to sit here and lie and tell you it's going to be easy, right? What we've been eating, what we used to eating, the standard American diet, it's a drug. It is a drug. So when you're getting off of it, you're going to be weaning yourself off of it, right? You are going to want to go to the familiar foods, right? But it is causing a disease in your body. I just want to motivate people that it's possible, right? I am literally the living proof, and I don't want to make it seem like I'm perfect, right? I have to do things and do yoga and work out to make sure I'm still mobile, but I'm diagnosed with MS. I'm fine. Like, sometimes my hands get a little tingly. It reminds me like, hey, there's still MS, but I am working on the day that I can go in and I'm asking my doctor to find the lesion, find the spot of inflammation, right? And I can't wait until they do that, because I'm like, I thought you said it couldn't be reversed. And I'm not a miracle. I just want everyone to know if you eat what the creator created, that's why I love Dr. Sebi, right? Because when you really look at Dr. Sebi's list, he's like, it's basically, I studied it for a long time. It's basically like, oh, God, eat the stuff God made. That's basically his list symbol, right? Eat the stuff God made. He's basically telling you anything man-made is genetically modified.
No.
Yeah. So that's all. I just want to motivate people. I am at the Autoimmune Bully on all things, right? On Instagram, Facebook, the Autoimmune Bully. I have a website. Check out the website. I'm living proof, right? At first I tried to tell God, no, I don't think I want to be the bully. I'm not going to do it. And God is like, Anita, I created you for this. Yes, you are. So now I'm ready, and I got my boxing gloves on. So I'm ready to help the world. And I really appreciated this conversation, Percy. Thank you so much for having me. It was wonderful. Your mindset is amazing. We can have these conversations. The rest of the world will be like, no, but I love my Chippewas, and we understand. So I appreciate you so much for having me.
Yes. And I'm so glad that you dropped your handles, because that was the next thing I was going to ask you to, let people know where they can find you. So it's the Autoimmune Bully on everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
Facebook,
yeah.
Instagram, and then you do have your website as well.
Uh-huh.
I will leave that link below so they can, they can catch the replays and look you up, because they need to really, really, really watch your stuff. I enjoy going onto your Instagram and, looking at the things and the stuff that you're creating. And, it is amazing to me. So we're at the point of the show where I'm just going to say goodbye to everyone. So here we go. I want to thank each and every one of you guys for taking the time and watching us or listening to us on the podcast. You guys could be anywhere in the world, but today or tonight, you decided to be right here with us. And for that, I thank you. So peace out, DiaBEAST family. Holla.
Bye, everyone.